She pressed the brake. The car went faster. Jen was leaving the highway. An ordinary exit, an ordinary afternoon. Then the pedal went soft under her foot. She pressed harder. Nothing. She pulled the emergency brake until it tore a black scar down the road. The car did not want to stop, and somewhere, in a sealed room people already knew why. Rewind a decade, a company builds its entire name on one promise: reliability, not the fastest, not the flashiest, the one that never lets you down. Engineers in Japan chase perfection with a discipline the industry envies, every part measured, every process refined, zero defects as a religion, and for a while, it works. The brand becomes a byword for trust. Families buy them for their teenagers. Grandparents buy them to feel safe. Then the company decides to grow, faster than anyone in its history. More models, more markets, more cars, every single year. To move that fast, they change something invisible, something no customer would ever see. The car stops being a machine of steel and cable. It becomes a machine of software. The gas pedal no longer pulls a wire, it sends a message. A tiny computer reads that message and decides how much power you get. The driver asks, the computer answers. Most of the time, the answer is correct. The people who wrote that code trusted it completely. They had to. It was already in millions of driveways. They believed the machine would always listen. They were about to find out what happens when it stops. The complaint started as a trickle. Drivers said the same impossible thing. The car sped up on its own. At first, easy to dismiss. People make mistakes. Feet slip. Panic scrambles memory. Investigators had a comfortable explanation ready. Driver error, case closed. But the trickle kept coming, and the stories kept matching. A retired man, a nurse, a off-duty officer with his family in the car, calling emergency services as they hurtled toward an intersection they could not stop for. Different people, different roads, the same nightmare. Inside the company, engineers looked at the systems and found nothing. No broken part, no failed sensor. The machines passed every test. So the official story hardened. It must be the floor mats. It must be the pedals. It must be anything you can hold in your hand. They recalled mats. They reshaped pedals. They told the public the problem was solved. But a few people were not satisfied. Outside, experts began asking a harder question. What if the fault was not in anything you could touch? What if it was in the code? That question was dangerous, because the code had never truly been examined, not by outsiders, not line by line. The company treated it as a secret, locked away, protected, off limits, and regulators for years let it stay locked. They studied the mechanical parts. They studied the electronics from the outside. But the millions of lines running the throttle stayed in the dark. One safety official reportedly pushed to look deeper, to crack open the software itself. He was told it was unnecessary. The metal was fine. The pedals were fixed. Move on. They buried this file for years. Subscribe, because there are more. So the warning sat there, growing. The crashes kept happening. Some walked away shaking. Some did not walk away at all. Every time, the same ritual. Blame the driver, blame the mat, never the machine. And the one place no one was allowed to look stayed sealed. The answer was already written, in a language almost no one in the courtroom could read. Waiting. Come back to Jean on that exit ramp. Beside her sits her closest friend. They have known each other most of their lives. The car begins to accelerate. Jean's foot is already on the brake. Pressing, then stamping. The engine does not ease. It surges. She reaches for the emergency brake and hauls it up with both hands. The road behind her records the fight. A long dark streak over 100 feet burned into the asphalt. Proof of everything she did right. It is not enough. The exit curves. The car will not. There is a sound of tires screaming. Then the world turns sideways. Metal against embankment. Glass. Silence. When it stops, Jean is alive. Barely. Her friend in the passenger seat is not. For a long time afterward, the story is simple. A woman lost control. A tragic accident. Human error. That is what the paperwork says. That is what everyone believes. Because the truth is still locked in a room, in a language of ones and zeros that no jury has ever been allowed to see, until one of them is. The answer was sitting in a file nobody had opened. A team of software experts is finally given the code. Under court order. For the first time. Months of work. Millions of lines. And slowly, the horror takes shape. The program controlling the throttle is a maze, tangled, layered. A structure so complex the experts give it a name, spaghetti. Deep inside they find something worse than complexity. The system relies on a small block of memory to keep track of what the car is doing, which tasks are alive, what the engine should do next. That memory is fragile, and it is not properly protected. If certain tasks fail, if the wrong ones die in the wrong order, the value that controls the throttle can become corrupted, and when it corrupts, the software can simply forget to close the throttle. The engine holds power, the car keeps accelerating, the driver presses the brake, but the brain of the car is no longer listening. It is stuck, chasing a command that no longer exists. There was supposed to be a guardian, a watchdog, designed to catch the computer when it fails and shut it down safely. The experts examine it. The guardian is watching the wrong things. It can miss the exact failure that kills people. A single hidden fault, a flipped bit in a forgotten corner of memory, enough to turn a safe car into a runaway. The verdict lands like a hammer. For the first time, a jury is told the software itself was defective, and they believe it. Then comes the reckoning no one can spin. The company agrees to pay $1.2 billion, not for a design mistake, for hiding it, for misleading the public, for telling drivers the problem was solved when it was not. That is the twist that should keep you awake. The flaw in the code was terrible, fragile memory, a blind guardian, real and dangerous. But fragile systems can be fixed, bad code can be rewritten. The real failure was never the software. The real failure was that people inside knew something was wrong and chose the brand over the drivers. Every recall aimed at the mats, every press release blaming the pedal, every locked door. They were not searching for the truth. They were standing in front of it. Toyota was not the only company that let its cars start making decisions, and the next machine that decided to ignore its driver was flying at 40,000 feet.